strange, like blood on his hands, a bizarre mystery that tortures his soul. Two investigators have been hired to follow the haunted man, but only one person, a young man with Down syndrome, can imagine where their journey might end. That terrible place from which no one ever returns. The Bad Place. This is white knuckle hair curling on the back of the neck reading, as close to actual physical terror as the printed word can deliver. Los Angeles Times.
Okay, hey friends and subscribers and everybody that watches these reviews, here's another one. It's a book review. I'm going to do Dinar Koontz The Bad Place, which I just finished reading a couple of days ago. But also I want to say where I got it. I got it at this bookstore here in San Antonio called Nine Lives Bookstore. You know, it's just a used bookstore. They sell, you know, not only books but records and CDs and cassettes and VHS tapes, which that's really cool. That's kind of why I went there, but I had to check out the books, and I got The Bad Place mostly because of the cover. And I remember, you know, like in the 80s, reading a lot of Koontz. I actually read this one because reading it again, you know, I just knew some stuff that was going to happen, but I didn't really remember it. So I picked it up. It was, you know, it was like $4, but I've been reading Koontz lately, and I picked up 3 of his books. This one, Cold Fire, and I can't remember the third one, but I just grabbed one randomly. It was A Bad Place, and it was good. It was written. Let me see, when was it written? Check the 1990. And if you're familiar with Koontz, you know other people that review his books, they talk about the Koontz formula that he has. It's present in here, but it's well written. I would say it's more sci-fi than horror, but it does have a lot of horror elements. It focuses on this character, Frank Pollard. You know, he's waking up, doesn't remember who he is, covered in blood, just and other like items around him that he doesn't know where he got them. He has like a ton of cash, so he hires these 2 private investigators to find out who he is, you know, what's happening to him, or who he was, and from there it just goes off into the meat of the story, and he uncovers, you know, people that want to harm him, and just a whole, you know, this whole story that unravels with a lot of weird stuff in it. Like, I've just, you know, say there's like mutants in here that have like superhuman powers. See, what I like about it, some other books I've read lately, is like there's really some other books I've read and there wasn't much characterization for the characters. And this one, you know, Koontz gives a lot, even for minor characters. He gives them, you know, he gets some depth to them, stuff they like, their personality. He does that really well, especially for the 2 private investigators. Actually, not so much for Frank Pollard, a little bit, even though he is the main character. I guess, you know, they try to keep it a mystery. But then there's the villain. His name is, they call him Candy. He's pretty sadistic, but he's also kind of like a villain that's in a lot of other Dinar Koontz books. He kind of has like a mold type for his villain characters. You know, like a big muscular dude who's just totally psychotic and like literally bloodthirsty, almost inhuman, but still human. But it works, and it works in The Bad Place. It does have a character with Down syndrome. I think Koontz lays it on a little thick, kind of like, you know, like the sweet, gentle, harmless soul, you know, who's a victim of Down syndrome. But he's still a good character, though, even with the, you know, Koontz gives you this like idealistic movie vision of a person with Down syndrome. They spend a lot. You do spend a lot of time with him, and you actually like him, care about him. Pretty much all the characters, all the good guys in here, and even the bad guys. You kind of understand where they're coming from, even if it's it's all crazy and doesn't make sense. He at least does give a reason for their actions. The book is 417 pages, and I read it fairly quickly. There's some books that I just gotta sloth through and just try to get through it, but I would look forward to reading it. I wish I would have had more time when I did read it. Usually I read in the mornings, so I have more time to read. But there he is. There's Mr. Koontz. Basically, what I'm saying is this is a good book, and if you like Koontz, and if you haven't read it, it's a good read. He also, even though it's written in 1990, I give him even more points because he mentions Charles Bronson towards the end of the book. I love Charles Bronson. I'm sure Dean Koontz does as well. The only thing, it's called The Bad Place, and this house is not really in the book. I think it's actually like the two investigators, they have like a dream of owning a house on a beach, and I think that's what this is supposed to represent. Well, yeah, Dean Koontz, like, he also, gets into the mind of the characters. He taps into like everyone's fear of dying, eventually getting old, or getting killed, in a violent manner, or just losing control of your life. It seems like he's really, just writing from his heart and soul and what he thinks about life. There's a lot of that stuff in here too, so it just gives it more depth, more breadth. And I'm glad I read it, and it makes me want to read more Koontz books and reread some of the other books that I read, like Watchers and Midnight. I remember reading those. If Watchers is considered one of probably his best book, and Midnight is really good, but The Bad Place is right there with them, or just like a hair length behind them, and being really good. I think in the 90s he was really hitting his stride, and it was a really good writer. I haven't read any of his recent books, but say from like the mid 80s to mid 90s, I think this was his best time for being creative and writing really good books. So I'm glad to review it. I'm glad, like I said, to have read it. And if you like Koontz, like Stephen King, like Richard Lehman, just like to read a horror / sci-fi, just genre books, you could do a lot worse than The Bad Place. And I've already started reading another book. Anyone who watches this that likes to read, if you read this, or if you read any other King's books and just want to comment on them, please feel free to do so. And see if there's anything else. That's about it for Bad Place. It's a really good book, and I hope you read more too. So that's gonna be it for this one, and I'll see you next time.